friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Hilary and today I will be going over all the books that I have received in the winter months. The books I usually get fall under three categories. First is Illumicrate subscription, Fairyloot subscription and everything else I have bought for myself. So I will be going over the books in those categories. For the December Illumicrate, I got the Marvellous Light by Freya Marske, and it's absolutely beautiful book. However, this is a book I haven't read. I know people say it's a whimsical fantasy book. Hidden world, magical conspiracy, and a thrilling romance. And hopefully I can read this in the near months. Next we have January Illumicrate, and from there I got two books. So this Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi and the Ivory Key by Akshaya Raman. So again, I haven't read any of these books. I haven't been doing very well with my Illumicrate books, but both should be fantasy. This should be about two sets of twins, brothers and sisters, and this is another fantasy. Clashing empires, forbidden romance, and long-forgotten queen destined to save her people. And for the last book, technically I did receive it in March. It's the February Illumicrate book, A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. And again, as I said before, I don't read the synopsis of the books very often, and I usually forget about them, and I do like to go mostly blind into the books. But it is absolutely beautiful book again. For the Fairyloot books, I have been a little bit better. We'll start with, again, the December of 2021. We got The Year of the Reaper, and I have actually read it. I really liked it. I liked the characters in it. I do have to say it's not a very big and plotful book. It's quite small and tiny, but I did like the relationship between the characters. And also this is about the aftermath of a plague, although we don't get too many gory scenes, so I know it's not for everybody won't enjoy it, but I liked it quite. For the second book, for December, we got the Coldest Touch, and this should be a vampire romance, and I know nothing else, and I haven't read this. Honestly, it doesn't intrigue me enough right now to pick it up, so we'll see what happens with this. For the January Fairyloot, we have Only a Monster by Vanessa, Lynn, and I have read this. This was one of my anticipated this year's releases, and we got this beautiful with beautiful end papers. Fairyloot book, and this is about a girl, a monster, and a monster hunter, and her accepting that she is a monster and doing what needs to be. I do have to say that it felt really small and not a lot happened, and it had a lot of problematics, but I am intrigued about where this book goes, because honestly this book by itself mostly can be read as a standalone also if you want. And for the last book, I think this is the prettiest book of the whole haul, and that is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Lynn, and I think the second book is already been announced, and again it is on my TR even before I knew that it was in this crate, but it's a retelling inspired by the Mid-Autumn legend. I know nothing about that legend, but I am quite excited, and I think mostly I have heard good thoughts about this. Next, we are going for the books that I have bought myself, and there I'm doing a little bit better about actually reading them. The first two books I have bought are An Echo of Things to Come and The Light of All That Falls by James Islington, and I have read both of them, and I absolutely love this series. Definitely one of my favorite series. This is high epic fantasy. A lot of people say it's very similar to Wheel of Times, but since it's a trilogy, it's much more packed and faster pace. It is about world trying to defeat evil, but otherwise it is a lot about friendship, gods, religion, and doing what you believe is right and whether it is actually, and absolutely, definitely one of my favorite series ever. Next, I bought The Burning God by R.F. Kuang, the third book of the Poppy War. I had hoped that I have already read this by this time. However, my reread of the Poppy War got a little bit postponed to January, and I'm reading right now the Dragon Republic, very, I think, 2 chapters in. So we'll see. I haven't heard the best of things of this book. I know everybody really loved the Poppy War, but they were a little bit disappointed with the book 2 and 3. However, I am open to it being really great. And also, I don't know enough about the second book. As I said, I'm just a few chapters in, but it started surprisingly really dark. So we'll see how this goes. The next book I bought is Small Favors by Erin A. Graig, and I actually have already read it last year, I think in August or so, and I just love this book's vibes. This is about a small town, and there starts things happening. People get murdered, people disappear, there will be sightings of demons, and they are trying to figure out what is going on and maybe save their lives. And the main character's name is Ivory. That is quite similar to Hilary, and they don't say it very often, so it's really nice. And I am just loving the dark fantasy horror books with spring vibes. It's my go-to favorite books. Next one is the Guild Codex comic collection by Asleigh, Zanardi, the artist, and the author Annette, and this was a Christmas present from my husband. It is signed by both the author and the artist. The shipping from Canada was really expensive, but I'm really happy that I got it. This is a graphic, I wouldn't even say novel, it's short snippets or scenes from the Guild Codex universe stories. The main story is divided into 4 separate storylines, and you can read all the books separately, start wherever you want, but at some point they are interlocking. You can see other characters from the different point of views in different series, and also you do know what's happening in the general world, so it's very nice to see how it all interconnects. And this story, the first one, is about a human called Tori, or named Tori, and she takes up a job as a bartender in a magical guild. And what she discovers is magic is real, and then she starts helping to solve mysteries and maybe save the world. We are almost to the last book, and this is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. And surprisingly, it's my favorite Leigh Bardugo's book. It's, I think it's a 6 short story collection. They are all mostly inspired by Slavic tales. There's also a Little Mermaid prequel at the end, and honestly you can read this without ever knowing what the Grishaverse is, because there's only slight mentions of the magical skills and everything else, but you don't need to know anything about them previously. And also I think there is a reference to certain somebody in the last story, but I haven't had it confirmed yet. But I really love these stories, and I have no problems with rereading this book again and again. For the last book, I have the Dune, the graphic novel book 1. The second one should be coming out in summer this year. So I haven't read the Dune myself, but I have seen the first movie, and now I have read the first graphic novel. So this, I think the first 2 or 3 books will be of this will be the whatever the movie is about. I'm not sure, but it was really nice and I loved it. I do see that sadly the book is put back backwards, but it's a very lovely illustrations. I'll show you the first page. I don't know how well you can see, but yes, I read it and I quite enjoyed it. So I think I showed you about 15 books, and I have read about 8 of them. That is over half, so I'm really happy about it. Also, what we should take into account is that these 2 arrived just about a week ago or so, so I wouldn't have had time to read them anyways. So 8 books out of 13 is more than good enough, I think. So what we can tell from my first haul is that I mostly read the books that I buy quite fast. However, we have a problem with Illumicrate and Fairyloot books, so I should put more of those in my TBR. And hopefully it will happen. But that's about it. You can drop down in the comments what book you are most intrigued about and maybe want me to read. But I think that's it, so thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and bye!